Welcome to the Bridging the Generation podcast. I'm your host, Malak Arif, and today I got another special treat for y'all. My next guest is by way of Jacksonville, Florida. He's been putting it down in the game since 1978, coming on the scene with Reverend James Cleveland and his group, The Modulations. Since then, he has collaborated artists such as Norman Connors, Dionne Warwick. I mean, it's a long list. He's known for hits such as Show Me, I've Been Searching, Nobody Like You, Here We Go Again, We've Only Just Begun, The Romance Is Not Over, Stay. I mean, this brother has classics on classics. So with all that being said, it's an honor and a pleasure to introduce the one, the only, the Velvet Voice, Mr. Glenn Jones. Let's go. How's it going, Mr. Jones?
Well, brother, it's going as well as can be expected. You know, just trying to stay safe and just trying to just mentally, you know, just keep it together. You know, it's kind of crazy because, you know, I'm so used to working and traveling. I've been doing that ever since I was a kid. But I'm blessed, man. I'm good.
No doubt. So with this whole COVID-19 Corona, how has that affected you in any way?
Man, you know, I love doing what I do. You know, like I said, I've been doing it ever since I was, you know, a kid. Like I started singing when I was like 6, 7 years old. And I even got the opportunity to start traveling, you know, early on. I sang with a gospel group from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hold on. Let me stop you for a second. Hey, Glenn, if you don't mind me calling you Glenn. Hey, we gonna get you moving a little too fast. Let me slow down.
I'm used to doing that, man. Because sometimes
you know what?
Interviews, you know, people be, you know, like they be so laid back, and it's like they don't really know how to lead the interview and where to go, particularly where I want to go. So
I got you. Hey, Glenn, I got you because we gonna go. Hey, this is gonna be one of the smoothest interviews you ever had. I'm telling you, brother, because I'm a diehard fan of your work. A lot of people a lot of people know the name. Oh, I want to have Glenn Jones on here, and they don't know the catalog. Like
they don't do their homework, though, man.
They don't do their homework. You talking about somebody who's 30 years of doing the homework. Like I you know, so this is different. So look, I want it again.
I'm gonna let you drive. How about that?
Hey, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it because again, man, I'm a fan of your work, and it's an honor to have you on here. So I love to start off asking, like, how are you know, like mentally and as far as, you know, this whole pandemic. I just want to know how are you maintaining during this time?
Okay. Well,
start from the beginning. Start from what's going on today, and then we gonna take it back to the beginning.
Okay. Dealing with the pandemic has been, you know, difficult, man, because you're so isolated, and, you know, just even being able to deal with my peers and stuff, hanging out with them, you know, being at the studio, maybe going over to one of my guys, you know, lab, you know, and working on some music. So been kind of isolated from that. I've still been, you know, working on a few things, but from a remote situation, you know how technology is now. You know, somebody can send you a track, you do your thing on it, and you send it back. It's been that kind of thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Kind of like how we doing now. Like this probably would never been able to happen 25 years ago. So yeah, you're right, brother. So look, that's good to hear, man. Like you look well. Like I said, man, I'm very surprised, bro. I'm very surprised, brother, how young you are, man. Like I had no idea that you was as young as you are. Like singing the type of songs that you were singing back then. It seemed like, you know, you were like a grown man child.
Hey, Hey, when I was a kid,
You didn't look it, but it just like you had this very mature voice and range, man. So,
yeah.
I'm surprised.
Well, when I was a kid and I used to sing, they used to call me the little boy with the big voice. So,
Yeah. So look, speaking of being a little kid, man, let's take it back. So you from Jacksonville. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about growing up in Jacksonville, because to my knowledge, man, you are the first artist that I know from Jacksonville, Florida, to my knowledge.
Yeah. Duval, man. And it was it was cool. I mean, I had a life, that consisted of church. My mother was a missionary and an evangelist, so that meant that every time the church doors swung open, that mean I was going to be there. We
I know
went to
that's
church.
right.
Yeah, we went to church on Saturday, man. We were Sabbath keepers, Seventh-day Adventist, Pentecostal.
Very strict. Very strict.
Yeah. Imagine that. So, I grew up in the church, and that's where I really got my opportunity to start, pursuing my music. Just being in church, singing in whatever choir, and learning how to play guitar. The people at church were very patient, and they would allow me to, ping, ping, ping on the guitar until I started learning some things. And that's where it all started for me. And I came from a family of 9, 7 boys and 2 girls, and I was the baby boy, So life was good, the baby gets, perks, you know how that is. But
you was the youngest. You was the youngest.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So look, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was just gonna say I had a lot of brothers and sisters, man.
Okay. So look, when did you realize, man, like I can sing? Not only do I like to sing, but man, I have this very unique voice. Because there's a difference between being able to sing and being able to sing with a very unique tone and voice, man. When did you realize that?
Man, look, I realized early. I realized from the first time I saw Michael Jackson on the Ed Sullivan Show, because we're the same age, and I'm like, look at this dude, man, look at this cat. And then I just started singing, in the bathroom, wherever. And I finally went to my mother and said, "Mom, I can sing." For some reason, I don't know if she had heard me, practicing or whatever. And I went to her, and the next thing I know, she was convincing my pastor to let me sing. So she used to take me to church conventions and stuff. So it was early, man, 5, 6 years old.
Now, but again, the second part, Glenn, when did you realize like my voice is special? Okay, you just mentioned you saw Michael Jackson on the Ed Sullivan Show. I like singing, but when did you realize like, man, my voice is different? Like you have your voice is like butter on toast, man. It's these gospel infused vocals, man. And and I heard this even early on. When you were in the group that we're about to get into next, like when did you realize like I have something special?
I realized that, man, when once the pastor started letting me sing in church, and the people would be clapping and shouting and hollering, man. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And then there was another singer that came along. His name was what's his name? He did the song "If You Let Me Make Love to You." I know his name so well. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. But it was around that time, man. And
he passed away, I believe.
Yeah.
I know who you talk about. I forgot who he passed away. He died of.
I'm gonna think of it before I get off of this. Before I get off this call. And I just from that point, man, I started writing songs when I was 14 years old, and I got records, man, that I went in the studio when I was 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. I got recordings right now. Wow. Where I recorded records in Nashville, Tennessee. At a recording recording place called Nashville Records. Yeah, and because I saw the group from Jacksonville, I was actually the youngest in the group, but I was the lead singer.
So talk about that. That's what we about to get into. So again, of course, my knowledge of you starts with your solo career. But as I dig deep, I realized that you sung with a group called The Modulation. Now, this wasn't your first group. Now, talk about you entering The Modulations and your relationship with the late, great James Cleveland.
Right. Well, actually, I started The Modulations through the support of my family. My older brother, Lewis Jones, and my oldest brother, Luther Jones Jr., they were the ones that, they supported me, man. They believed in me. They invested in me. We bought instruments and we bought a van, a Dodge 12-passenger van, and we used to rehearse in my brother's garage, and they would drive me and my group, man, to different places, across the country, whether it was Chicago or Detroit or Philly. They would take me and they would line up different programs for me to sing on. And the thing about it is that I knew a lot of the gospel quartet singers by being on the road with them. I mean, by the time I was 13 years old, I had been from Florida, toured all the way out to California with the Mighty Clouds of Joy and the Five Blind Boys and all those people, man.
Wow.
And that really opened up things for me, and it made me realize what I wanted to be. I knew I was going to be a singer. I knew I was going to do this for my life and for my living. Yeah.
Okay, so you created the group with The Modulations. So how did you come to the attention of the late Reverend James Cleveland?
Well, a good friend of mine who actually helped my brother manage my group, because my brother, he had a full-time job. He was a longshoreman, and my friend, was really in the business, in gospel. And he knew Reverend Cleveland. So we drove out to California to do some shows at some churches. And he flew out there. His name is Ben Middleton. And the flight that he was on, James Cleveland was on the same flight. Right. So he told James about me and my group. And when we got there, James had invited us to come over to his house, So this was like, James was like one of the biggest gospel singers, in the world. This dude was living in Hollywood Hills and stuff, man. And he invited us over. We got around the piano, man, and he started playing and told me to sing this and sing that. And the next thing I know, he was calling this record label called Savoy Records that was based in New Jersey.
Okay.
Elizabeth, New Jersey. And told them, look, I want you to send a contract because I'm getting ready to sign this boy, Glenn Jones. And days later, I was in RPM, Ray Charles' studio, recording an album. Yeah, in Ray Charles' studio, man.
Wow. So what was it like? So you dropped 1978. You dropped the first album, Made Up My Mind, with the Made Up Mind. And one thing I noticed, man, like you were like you said, you were the youngest member in the group, but you wrote the majority, if not damn near all of the songs. And some of the songs, my favorite song on there is He Didn't Have to Do It. That was like, and the title track.
Oh, man.
But again, so talk about that. What was that like being the lead singer, being a child? Because you was like 16.
Yeah.
Being a kid, being a child lead singer in a group of grown men. Overseen by Reverend James Cleveland. Tell me about that experience. What was that like?
Well, the songs that we recorded on that album, I did write most of them. And not realizing that I was going to get an opportunity to do an album that soon, I would just, once I started learning how to write songs, I would just write, I just stack them up and pile them up, man. I used to have 2 cassette recorders.
Right.
I would play guitar and sing on one, and then I play it back and push the other one, into record and harmonize with myself. So I probably had like these 10th generation tip generation songs, where I just kept going back and forth recording, learning how to
Right.
sing harmonies and stuff like that.
Excuse me.
It was great,
Wow.
man. It was great.
So I'm again, but you're a kid. Like you're literally a kid, and you're a lead singer in a group. Like I always wanted to ask an artist such as your caliber, what is that like? Like, you know.
It was great, man, because even earlier than that, being younger, when I was really, in my adolescent years, I was still the lead singer of the group.
Okay.
I was the guy that stood out front, that had, I had my little, speeches and stuff that I would say. I would
Right.
talk to the audience. Back in those days, they would send you to the radio station, so you could talk about, the show being there and what you were going to do. So I'm a little kid in a radio studio with Joe Lagan, from the Mighty Clouds, and
Mm.
from the Violiniers, and they all around the mic talking trash, because that's what quartets do. Yeah, we gonna kill y'all. We gonna kick y'all up in the air.
Hold on. Even in gospel?
Yeah, man. Yeah. They used to talk trash, and they would tell me to step up to the mic and say what I gotta say. So I mean, it was different, man. I had my little sermonettes that I used to do. I don't know if you ever been to a quartet show, but it's a very dramatic kind of thing, and they put together their little sermons and all that. And I had that, I had to put together my little lines, and
That's what's up.
I had to be a front man.
Yeah. So here we are. You're here. You're traveling all over the country, and you're on Savoy Records, man. And one thing I noticed about you, man, again, you had this very distinctive voice, man, that just really it resonated with people. I can only imagine, how it resonated with just whoever saw you perform live. So you dropped another album, Feel the Fire, with Savoy Records, and then you end up leaving. So how come you end up what led to your exit from Savoy Records?
Well, they weren't really marketing and promoting my records like they should have,
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I got new management, and around that time, I had met Norman Connors.
Mm.
Yeah, he was getting ready to do
Let's
another.
get into it. Let's go. That Melancholy Fire. Talk about that, man.
That's the first R&B record I ever did, because at the time I had a manager named Louise West, who was an entertainment lawyer, and she was friends with Norman. And she played my gospel for Norman, and Norman was like, wow, So they flew me up to DC. I met Norman, and he was telling me he was getting ready to do a new project called Take It to the Limit, and he had this song called Melancholy Fire, and he needed a male singer. He flew me out to Cali, so I didn't go in the studio right away, man. I had like maybe 5 or 6 days before I went in, and I was just really nervous. I was scared to make that transition,
Now, time out. I gotta stop you. I don't want it. It's getting good, but I have to ask this question. Were you familiar with Norman Connors prior to him asking you to come out to California?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, continue.
Because I had always been in gospel, and particularly Norman was a jazz artist, a jazz musician. So I was more familiar with the straight up R&B stuff. He asked me to come out, and I was going to do the record, but I was a little apprehensive because I had never sang secular music, and I was nervous about what the church members was gonna say, and my mother being so heavily in the church, and I didn't want to embarrass her or hurt her, So what I did when Norman presented me with Melancholy Fire, I lived with it for a couple of days, and then I took and rewrote the verses. So I made it a little more middle of the road, what I'm saying, a little more inspirational, and I was comfortable with that, and I went in the
Yeah,
studio and cut it, man. And like,
yeah.
another reason why I made that transition, because when I was doing gospel, a lot of the stuff that I was writing, it was really, really contemporary stuff,
Hmm.
and I wanted to be able to hear my record sound like that. Back in those days, they weren't spending money on recording gospel records, man. They, like those albums that I did, man. They sent me in the studio in one day. I had to record, like 10 songs, and I'm playing guitar and teaching the band the stuff, and I'm singing that whole time. So by the time I get ready to lay my vocal track down, I'm
Tired.
hoarse.
Yeah,
Hey, burnt me out. But
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to hear my record sound like the records that I heard on the R&B stations. That quality. That
Right.
great production. And I knew I had a chance to do that with Norman, and I did it. And when I heard Melancholy Fire for the first time, man, on the big monitors up top, I was like, oh my God. So I was
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah, yeah, you sang your heart on that one, especially at the toward the end, man. When you hit that, you hit that run at the end, man. Like you
Yeah,
know,
man.
you kill it, man. So look, you mentioned like you was a little reluctant as far as jumping into rhythm and blues.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go back for a second. Like now, growing up, you said you grew up in a Pentecostal family background,
Yeah.
Seventh Day Adventist. Now, what were some of your influences, musical influences? Were you allowed to listen to rhythm and blues music?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't allowed to, but I used to sneak and do it. It's like when Mom and Pop went to the grocery store.
Right.
We had a hi-fi or whatever you want to call it. So I had my little 45 stashed away in my room,
Okay.
and when they would go to the store. My brother would be the lookout. I got a brother that's 4 years older than
Okay.
I, and he would be the lookout. And he'd tell me, they pulling up, but I'd be in there playing, Donny Hathaway,
Mm.
Aretha Franklin, or
Mm.
you know, the Temptations, uh,
Damn.
Ronnie
Oof.
Taylor, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was I was a huge fan of Bobby Womack. I used to love him, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. So here we go. We go move it. We go move along. So here it is. It's 1983, 84. You signed with RCA. What led to your signing with RCA Records? Because now you're no longer with Savoy. You got out of that contract, and
Yeah.
what led to that?
Actually, what led to it was that Melancholy Fire was the second single from
Mm-hmm.
Norman's Take It to the Limit album. And it jumped out and just started
Mm-hmm.
happening. And then Norman eventually brought me on the road with him to tour with him.
Right.
I started doing shows, and I started, getting attention through radio and everything. And the
Mm-hmm.
next thing I know, the record had went, I think it went top 15 or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
the next thing I know, I got an offer from RCA to sign with them. And they gave me a little demo budget to go in the studio and record a few songs, something other than Melancholy Fire, just to really see. And I had some of the cats from M2May's group at the time.
Mm.
My
Reggie
manager,
Lucas and them.
yeah, my manager was friends with them, and
Okay.
Howard King and
Mm.
um, Hubert Eves. Hubert Eves
Mm.
ended up putting together D Train, and
Yeah.
it was about 3 cuts on me. And once we finished, the label, they loved it, so they gave me a deal.
Yeah, because I noticed, man, like that was rare. Like I don't remember like a lot of EPs, but I always wanted to ask you this if I got the opportunity. Like, how come they released an EP? You know,
I don't know, because we had planned for an album, and
and
at the time, I didn't even know what an EP was.
yeah, extended play, and the
Yeah.
album, the EP, the extended play I'm talking about is the Everybody Loves a Woman, which the title song did pretty. It did okay.
Well, you know what? That project actually did better in Europe than it
Oh,
did
okay,
in the States. Because
right.
right now, when I go over there, I have to play all of this stuff that I recorded 40 years ago You know, I never played it here in the
Yeah.
States. Most of the
Right.
songs I never played them live, but
Right.
when I go there, then I got to play all of them, and especially "I Am Somebody." That's
I Am
like
Somebody.
that's a big record,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's a classic right there, man. So here we go, man. Here we are. Now we head into 1984. It's your second project on RCA. So
Yeah.
as of right now, how do you feel as far as RCA marketing, as far as they marketing you as an artist? What's your, how do you feel about that?
Well, that's actually why I ended up leaving RCA. Don't get me wrong; they were good to me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they they financially they were good to me, but they didn't know how to market me. They didn't know how to get me a serious hit record.
Right.
Not until Show Me. You know, when I did Show Me, which was the second project I did for RCA.
Let's go. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. So here we are. That the second project, man, and
Yeah.
you got Bring Back Your Love, that Finesse project, 1984, Finesse.
Yeah. Finesse.
And they got Bring Back Your Love, which went number 18, and then you guys Show Me that went all the way to number 3. So
Yeah.
talk about that song, man. And it was written by a writer, is Lala Cope.
Lala, yeah.
I never heard anything about that writer again. So give me a little backstory about the Show Me, man. I know you've told this like a million times, but I want to hear this, man.
No, her name is actually LaForest Cope, but we call her Lala. And again, she was friends with my my manager, and it was a community of people. You know, like I lived out in Queens, and Lala lived in Queens. Freddie Jackson lived in Queens. Johnny Kemp lived in Queens, so we all used to hang out and come to each other's sessions and stuff.
Right.
And Lala lived probably like 5 minutes from my house, so I was getting ready to do my second project, and I needed another song, and so I went to Lala's house, and she said, "Well, I got something for you." She said, "But I want to play something first, for you. I just want to see what you think about it." So she played this song called "You Give Good Love."
I know that's not the song that I think it is. Yo, I know. Hold on. I know that's not the song that I think it is by Whitney Houston.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Hold on. We got a Bridging a Generation podcast exclusive. I need to hear this. Let's go.
Man, look, when I heard that song, I was on my knees begging her for that. I like, "La, come on, man. Come on, La. You got to let me have this." She's like, no, I can't do that, Glenn. I can't do that. This is for this new girl, this young girl that Clive Davis has got.
Arista Records.
Arista Records. He's getting ready to do a project on her. So I've already committed this song to her. So I'm like, what the hell you playing for me then? Where'd you play it? Oh, girl in the movie, you got my mouth ready for some orange juice.
Yeah, Della Reese in the Harlem Nights.
Yeah, and you gonna leave a swallow in the container. I felt like that, man. I'm like,
oh man.
She said, "Hold up, it's all good. It's all good." She said, "I got something for you," and then she played "Show Me." I said, "Okay, all right," and that was it was great, man, because at the time Lala was signed to Kashif's production company. So she went in the studio along with Wayne Brathwaite and a guy named Steve Horton that was all signed to Kashif. And we went in and recorded the record. And, Kashif would stop by the studio sometime. And when he came in and heard me sing, when he heard me singing "Show Me," he told me I was singing too much like I was in church. I said, "Really? Okay." Well, that's what it's gonna be, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and do what I do.
The gospel infused. That's what I'm talking about. That gospel infused vocals, man. You got it, brother.
Yeah, Whitney Houston had that too, man. So many singers. I mean, Fantasia and Casey and JoJo. I mean, that's Ray Charles. Come on, man. If you don't know what that is,
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
man, you know,
Nah,
so
you're
that was
right.
the first single
Hmm.
the next album, and then we
Okay.
came back with "Bring Back Your Love." But that was an amazing record. And matter of
Yeah.
fact, another little tidbit: that's Freddie Jackson singing the background vocals on "Show Me."
No way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whenever he sees me, he likes to tell me, "Glenn Jones, I made you." You know,
Which is crazy. That's wild because you came out before Freddie Jackson. You came out a
yeah,
couple of years before him, and he's
yeah.
older. He's much older than you.
He yeah, I don't know how old Freddie is, but you know the fact that he sang those backgrounds the way he sung them, you know, he killed them. But he always
Man.
likes to tease and say, "Yeah, Glenn Jones, I made you. I sung on your first hit record." You know, so all in fun. You know, Freddie, that's my guy, man, and he is crazy. That's my dude. But yeah, man, that was an exciting time to get a record, you know, with that much, you know, uh, success.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good time.
One of the things I love about that record, it sounds so fresh. It's timeless. Like when I hear that, that sound. It's a feeling that I get not just from the production, the instrumentation, the music, but it's like the culmination of everything, man. It's just, did you ever realize like this song is going to be one of those songs that's just played 30, 40, 50 years from now?
You know, I didn't know, but I know now because I still get the checks. You know, so
I know that's right. I know that's right.
you know, didn't know, man. You know, you never know. You know, people talk about you know what's a hit, what's not a hit, but
Hmm.
it's hard to call, man. You don't ever know. You know,
Hmm.
and when it came out, it really surprised me, and that record led to me uh, getting to do a record with Dionne Warwick because
Talk. Let's go. Now we about to.
yeah,
Let's talk. Let's go. Let's go. That
yeah,
find the love
yeah,
project.
Friends
Let's
of Love
go.
stuff. Yeah, around
Yeah.
that time when that record came out, Dionne was getting ready to do an album. I think she hadn't done an album with Burt Bacharach in like 11 years or something. So
Hmm.
they needed, you know, somebody to do the duet. Luther had did it before I did it, and but they wanted to record the record. You know, and I love Luther. You know, it's my guy.
No doubt. Hmm.
But they wanted to record the record in a higher key.
Right.
And after they heard "Show Me," they said, "Oh, he can do it." So
Right.
I met with Bert and Dion in New York. Next thing I know, I was flying to L.A. to do
Oh,
the
that.
record.
Hey, you know I got to stop you, bro. You know I got to stop you. You know I got to stop you. Hold on. He's talking about the legend Burt Bacharach.
Burt Bacharach, the king
Look of
of
love.
pop productions, you know.
Yes, yes. Now, did you get an opportunity to meet Hal David as well?
No, I didn't meet Hal, but I was living in New York at the time, and Bert had called my manager and asked her to bring me over. So, we, you know, on the west side, 57th Street, you know, that's a very elite area. So we go in, and now we catch the elevator up to the penthouse.
Ooh.
You know, I get off the penthouse, and it's like, really? Okay. You know, and Leon Warwick is sitting over in the corner, and Bert is sitting at the piano, you know, doodling, you know, doing whatever he was doing.
And
And
you're a kid, man. You like
I'm a
20,
youngster,
20.
man.
You're a
Yeah,
kid, damn near.
yeah, yeah. And you know, I'm like just so blown away, man. And you know, I've been a fan of Dionne Warwick's, you know, all those years of seeing her on all those shows, you know, the Johnny Carson show and the Merv Griffin show and this show and
Right,
that show. And I've seen, you know, Burt Bacharach, you know, score so many movie, you know, scores and, you know, work with so many amazing people. And I'm like, these people want to work with me. So the meeting went great. I flew out to Cali and once again back to Cali. And she and I recorded the song at a studio called Lion Share. That was Kenny Rogers owned the studio. out there. Beautiful place. And Bert and his wife, Care Bear Sager, and Dion, we all were in the studio.
Another legend.
Yeah, recording the record, man. So it was an amazing thing. And then that led to me going on the Tonight Johnny Carson show with Dion. That was amazing. And
you killed that performance, brother.
Man, you know what? I kind of think I did all right.
Yo, brother, you killed that, man. You was like Michael Jordan in 1986 at the Boston Garden, man. That's one of my favorite live performances from you, man.
Man, look, at the time I was living in Queens, and I lived in a 4-family building. Chris Reed from Kid and Play, his father, Mr. Reed, he owned the building. Okay. So I had my spot on the left, and my girl, who's now my wife, Genovia Jeter, she was at home at the apartment, and Chris was at the apartment with his dad. And she told me when the broadcast was going on, when I was singing, they was just beating on the wall, man. Both of them, he killing it, So that was.
I know what I'm talking about, man. Like, bro, you bodied that performance, man. You bodied that. I know Johnny was like, man, who is this kid? But he know who you are now.
Man, and Lola Falana, that was a good friend of Dion's, and she was there. She was one of the first sex symbols.
Yes, beautiful
woman, man. She was sweet, and Dionne Warwick is such a nice lady. She's a beautiful person inside and out, man. So it was a good time.
So look, so you, right now you're still on RCA Records. Now, my question, I always wanted to know is, like, what was some of the other acts the other black acts that was on RCA Records? Because you kind of hinted at there was a little, I don't want to say tension, but it wasn't totally comfortable with being on RCA Records. So did they have a black division with RCA?
Yeah, they had a black division, but you had acts like the Pointer Sisters. They were on RCA, but their records were marketed and promoted by the pop, pop staff. And whenever a black artist came with a record that had the potential to cross over, they very seldom would get the pop staff to work it. But whenever a white act had a crossover record, like Hall & Oates, and a lot of other people, they would make the black staff work that record on the black radio side. Yeah.
So you saw a lot of the, what a lot of people don't want to talk about, music industry racism early in the a lot of people don't want to talk about that,
real, bro. They got the big budgets, and even when it came down to writing and getting publishing deals, they got the bigger publishing deals, and they just got more label support,
Okay.
And RCA, they did a lot of distribution, like different companies, were distributed through RCA. You had like Total Experience, Lonnie Simmons,
with the Gap Band,
he had a distribution deal.
And Peoples.
Right, South Soul, a lot of people, they even had this cat on there, Richard Dimples Fields.
Of course.
She's got papers, so he was on the label. And man, there were quite a few artists, but they didn't really know how to market, what I was doing. They didn't know,
Did you ever voice that to them? Like, how does that work? Like, you're on a, because I'm outside looking in. How does that work? You're the talent. You're the artist. You're the one that's bringing the artistry to the table. How does that work as far as, communicating your displeasure?
Well, you would have, meetings with, some VPs and stuff, and you would express to them, your hopes for your next project and what you think, and how you think the record should be, marketed. And, for the most part is, but round about that time, because RCA was distributing they were distributing Jive Records. They came to Jive Records. Jive Records came to RCA,
Right.
and when they cut the deal with them, their distribution deal, they
Right.
said the only thing we want Glenn Jones. So
Mm.
I put him in this deal, and that's how I slid from RCA over to Jive Records. Because they were cutting a distribution deal.
Okay. Okay. So now you over at Jive Records, you released your self-titled project, which
Yeah.
had "Oh Girl," which now what made you leave? What made you re-record that Shy Lights record?
I always loved it, man. It's like when I was a kid, I again with the records, in the back of the house, on the hi-fi, playing all this Shy Light stuff. It was the coldest of my life. Write
My
a
favorite.
letter.
That's my favorite.
Oh, the strings on that joint was just so warm, man.
Oh my God, man. Amazing.
Yeah, and I loved it. So I said one day I'm gonna re-record one of their records, but that was the opportunity, that led to me doing We've Only Just Begun.
Talk about that, which was your biggest hit.
Yeah. Even though it was number 2 record, but it still was the biggest one, in my opinion, it was.
Definitely was the biggest hit at the time. So around this time, music is kind of changing. They say music changes like every 3-4 years. So the self-titled project, that has that song, and We've Only Just Begun. Now, how did your life change after that one? Because that was bigger than Show Me. That went to, I believe, number 2 on the charts.
Yeah, that was number 2. But man, I always listed as number 1 because at the time Michael Jackson
had the Bad out.
The Bad record out, and he was at number 1. Now, how am I gonna possibly knock Mike out of the box?
That don't even count. Yeah, I feel you.
We kept he ho, trying to bust through, but he had a number 1 record, man, and it changed because I started to do more dates and tour, and people really started to take notice, and even from a songwriting standpoint, to get credit for writing a song like that, it was nice. So I started getting publishing deals and co-publishing deals rather, and it was good. It was a definite come up.
Okay. So now you do another project one more project on Jive, which had you re-recorded "Stay Again." Now, why did you re-record that?
I didn't re-record it. They re-recorded it. I recorded it first.
So why was it on that last Jive project though? Because it's 2 stays. It's on 2 of your albums.
Well, we had a remix that we did.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we had a remix, and then we did a greatest hits album. But there's another group from what's the group from Europe that recorded it? I can't think of the name of the group. The Girls. They recorded it. A group of females recorded it after I did. But that was a top 5 record too.
That was exactly. I love that one. That's another classic. I feel like that was very slept on. It got its respect, during that New Jack Swing era. And so talk about that. Like, you're being known for being a crooner. Was that a title that you embraced, or like, did that affect you in any type of way?
I think it did, because people would always put me in that category, and what they didn't realize is that my earlier projects, like what I did for on RCA, a lot of that stuff was up tempo.
Very up tempo
on both albums. That's why they love it so much in Europe. I just happened to get a smash with "Show Me," and that kind of like just tagged me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, he's a.
But that's the thing. That's not even really a ballad. That's more like a mid-tempo song.
Yeah, it is, because your boy Cube and a few other hip hop artists took that track and redid it. So I don't know, and that's actually I've been told by a lot of people that when they go to the skating rink,
Oh
that's
yeah.
the song they skate off of.
Hell yeah. Hell
Yeah,
yeah. Sure.
yeah.
That's a classic. So you end up going over to Atlantic Records, man, and you drop, more classics, man. You like, so what now you're working with Sylvia Rome.
So you're
And
wrong.
and
Yeah,
she's and I, if I'm not mistaken, she's head of the Black division. She got Levert over there. She got Troop. So
right,
what was the difference, man? I'm thinking outside looking in because I vividly remember this time, and I'm
right.
like, wow, he's over here at Atlantic, man. This is a perfect fit.
Well, before I went to Atlantic, I'm sorry, man.
Now go ahead.
I got to turn my phone off. Before
No,
I
it's
went
okay.
to Atlantic, Gerald Busby at
Mm,
Town had offered me a record deal, and I don't
wow.
know, that was that was a West Coast company. So I lived on the East Coast. I lived in New York, so I just decided to take the deal with
Hey,
Atlantic. You know,
hey, Skip, yeah. If you don't mind, it's gonna mess the
yeah.
algorithm. Yeah,
Okay, all
the
right,
music.
all right. So I ended up going to Atlantic, and you
Cause you
know,
you
it
Because you
was
got two more hits. Go ahead, Miami Country. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, but it was good for me because I got a chance to open up on my songwriting, and
Mm,
I got a chance to you know test out my production skills. On that project is when I really started writing a lot more and producing. Part of my projects. I
talk
had
about that. How important is that to be,
well because you have more control. I had a production deal. You know what I'm saying? And it's you get a chance to work with the people that you want to work with. You control the
right.
money. You know what I'm saying? And from that project, I got a number one record. Here I go again. And actually, I brought that in at the last minute. Uh,
Mm.
and Sylvia Rome was like, "Are you crazy? Why you just not let me hear this song?" So they decided to go with that. For the first single, and it was a number one record. And I think,
That's your first number one. That's
yeah,
that's your first official number one.
right, right. I had a number three, then I had a number two, then I had another
Stay
number
with the number five.
number
Yeah,
five, and then I had a number one.
you was
So
consistent, man, and you was very
yeah,
consistent.
but the times were changing, man. Everything was changing. Hip hop. And it was like, okay, now it's like you're doing adult recorts. You know what I'm saying? I'm an
Explain, explain that. I never understood that. Like you're an adult. Like
Yeah, I'm an adult, so
what are you supposed to be singing about?
I have no idea, man. But that's when things, just kind of got, you know, I don't know. It wasn't easy to take an adult record and market it and make it happen. Radio was changing. You know what I'm saying? They were starting to play different stuff. So now your music has been put in a different category, just as it is now. A lot
Yeah,
of artists that, you know, not long ago, in my opinion, they were like, a mainstream artist,
oh yeah,
but
yeah.
now it's not like that. It's different. They don't play their records in mainstream, so, but uh, I don't regret it because I did the music that I wanted to do and the music
Right.
that I was comfortable with doing and the music that right now, years later, I'm still comfortable with it.
Mhm.
I'm not going to jump up and try to do a new Jack record or something like that.
Right.
You
Nah,
know,
that first project on Atlantic Records, to me, that's my favorite Glenn Jones project.
that was
And
that was a great record, man. That was good album.
and you mentioned, they were trying to figure out what to do if you as an artist, but I don't understand because the charts is saying otherwise. You got Here I Go, which goes to number one.
Yeah,
I've Been Searching, which is my favorite Glenn Jones song outside of Show Me.
right.
I've been like that's my and that goes to number 8. So I don't understand. You have groups that you know, that's in this new jack swing era, and they supposed to be selling records, but they don't have hits like that. So I don't understand. Like, what are they talking about?
Well, even other songs that's on that album could have been big records. I had a song. There is a song on that particular project called "At Last."
Oh, that's my
Hey man, at the time, look in New York, they were banging that joint, man, on Kiss FM, on BLS, in Houston, in Chicago. This record was a #1 record on their speakers. But when I went to the record label and asked them to drop it as a single, they wouldn't do it. They said, it ain't a record, it's just a groove.
What?
I promise you, bro. I got on my
knees. You gotta be kidding me, man.
Yeah.
Hey, which project was that, Hooked on Your Love? Which one was that on?
Oh, that was on the man.
Is that on that's on the All of You project?
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah. That was my man. That's all for you.
All of that. I went to South Africa a couple of years ago. I was supposed to go this past year, but because of the pandemic, I couldn't go back. All of that music that you're talking about, they are crazy for it. They are crazy for that music. All for you.
Man, they're crazy for it here in DC. I know here in DC, brother, you was damn near. I thought you was damn near from DC. When I found out you was from Jacksonville, I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're huge here, man. Like,
I've been coming to DC for 40 years because my wife is from DC. That's what I heard. Yeah. Okay. We started singing together, and
that's what's up.
Yeah. So, all that stuff, man, and all those songs are huge, like in the Steppers, in the Steppers circle. You know what I'm saying? They're big records. I mean, I got a lot of records that people are not even aware about, but in the Steppers circuit, they kill it. They love them.
Your songwriting, like I said, your songwriting definitely improved, man. Like it was already really good. But as I listen, like those projects that you did on Atlantic Records, man, those were some really, that to me, that's the best work of Glenn Jones. In my opinion.
I love that album, man. The songs like The Way You Do. That's that, and In You.
Yeah.
In You I Found Perfect Love.
Whew.
Great song. That's a classic song, man.
Yeah.
That's classic. So,
So what was some of the highlights of being on Atlantic Records? Because to me, that's prime. Like a lot of people see your career, it's so many highlights, from the RCA to Jive. Like one thing I noticed about Glenn Jones, man, he go hit wherever he go. He go get him one.
Oh, well, let's give me one.
He gonna get him one. He ain't about to go to no, and it's weird because I never understood that when I'm looking at your discography. I'm like, you do two albums with RCA, 2 with Jive, 2, but the music is no drop off and you're getting hits. I never understood that, man. So give me some of the highlights, man, like, during your career, man,
during
that era.
Being at Atlantic, it was an honor to be, on the label that was the home of Donny Hathaway and Aretha Franklin, I always dug that. But, it led to a lot of stuff. Like me having a relationship with Aretha Franklin. I did concerts with her, where I would go out, walk on stage with her with a 30-piece orchestra and have my little tuxedo on and duets and stuff with her, and then she would have me to fly to Detroit and do these big elaborate birthday parties for her,
right.
And just being able to go out and tour, man. Okay, I'm going out for 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Went out with me, Gerald Levert, and R. Kelly, and did dates with a lot of different people. So I always wanted to be on the road singing, man. A lot of people complain about traveling. They want to jump on a flight, I like, the thing for me was where's my tour bus? They go on the road, gigs, and you know, I
That's
think
right.
that was exciting, you know, for me, man.
What were some of your favorite places to perform?
Chicago, Atlanta,
Mm,
Houston, New York. I mean, New York was always a good place for me to perform. I used to perform at this club downtown called the Bottom Line. And
mhm.
you know, all of the, you know, all your peers, you know, all my peers would come out, man, to see me play, you know. And you know, and you know you got access to some of the best musicians in the world in New
Mhm.
York.
No doubt, no doubt.
And I used to love to go to the UK, you know, go to London and Manchester, you
Right.
know, just so many great places, man. You know, LA, you
Mhm.
know, yeah.
Now you mentioned guys like R. Kelly. You mentioned guys like Gerald Levert. Who would give me your top five vocalists of your era, not including yourself, or give me three? I'm not even gonna hold me to five. Just give me three.
Of my era,
Yeah, of your era.
it's kind of hard, man,
And
because
listen. The reason why I asked you that because I'm talking to Glenn Jump, like Glenn. You're a big deal, like brother. You know how Michael Jordan played basketball.
yeah, I know,
Your voice is like Michael Jordan played. If I had to choose,
man.
I would have to think about it. Like I'm gonna be honest. If God said, Malak, I'm gonna give you the voice of Glenn Jones. I'm gonna give you the talent of Michael Jordan. That's not an easy decision because your voice, man, like you have one of those type of voices, and I never felt like you really get the credit you deserve. But when I look back, I'm like, you got the stats. You
Yeah,
got the stats, man, but it's something I never understood. And I think, you know what I think? I know I'm rambling. Because I asked you a question. But I think, man, you were just too soulful, man. You was too much, man. You was too, bro. You were too soulful,
wow, man,
yo. You were too soulful, man. Like,
wow,
for you to understand your type of music, man, you gotta be a person that understands life. You gotta be a person that understands love, man. And if you can't understand life and love and relationships and hurt and pain, you're not gonna get Glenn Jones, man. He's not for you.
yeah. Well, you know, that's I think they call that soul. You know, they just call it soul because you know, I never, you know, when I was young, I never planned to start singing R&B. I never had, you know, that in the back of my mind, and somehow it just happened.
Right.
And when it happened, I just said, I'm gonna be me. You know, I don't care what I'm singing. You know, it's like Ray Charles is one of my favorite singers of all times. But when he, you know, came out and started putting out those records, man, you know, that were hits, man, it's like, you know, they were trying to tell him it was blasphemy and he was going to hell because he was singing
Right.
this stuff just like he sung his gospel. But that's in your DNA. You are who you are.
No
You know what
doubt.
I'm saying? So, I mean, when I say of my era, because some of the cats, you know, they were older than I was, but I still got a chance to experience their music. And I would have to say people like Peebo Bryson. I would have to say uh, I would have to say uh, Charlie Wilson.
Good man.
Uh, I would have to say Luther Vandross.
Okay.
Uh, I would have to say Michael McDonald. You know,
Mm,
those are the kind of people. And Stevie Wonder. Come on.
that's the Mount Rushmore right there.
Yeah,
You giving me the Mount Rushmore of vocalists, man. And
yeah.
so how important was that to you to be, did you ever while during that time, did you ever make it your duty, man, to be one of the best the best vocalists, man? Like how important it was to you to be able to match what you did on record and live shows and let the people know that ain't no studio trickery over here.
Right.
Ain't nobody messing around in the studio to enhance my voice. This is Glenn Jones, what you hear.
Well, you know, it was very important to me because music is all I've really ever known. You know, it's what I do, it's who I am,
Right.
and you know, when you know you have a talent or a gift, you want to really be good at it.
Right.
And I think sometimes because of the fact that the direction of music changed, and you know, less and less you were getting the opportunity to get the exposure, you know, that you needed to get, you know, as an artist. I think it became more important to me for people to say, okay, he did that record. Yeah, he did that. You know, he, yeah, you know, I mean, you know, he might not, you know, he might not sell 10 million records, but you know what? The ones that he recorded, yeah,
Body him. You kill
yeah,
him.
they
Yeah.
like that. They
Yeah.
like that. So it was very important to me. You know, I've always been a real laid back, humble kind of guy. I mean, all my peers know me and they know I'm cool, you know.
Mhm.
But when I get the mic, then, you know, I try to make it a different thing. You know?
Yeah, no,
Like that.
it's every man for themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Every
exactly.
every man for themselves. So I'm thinking it back around, you like you said, music changed a lot, man. Was there ever a time where you felt like you was discouraged from, because you mentioned, man, you mentioned that, music was going in another direction, and they saying that you sound so mature,
Yeah.
but was that ever, did you like talk about that?
I've had many days like that, man, you know, that were discouraging, you know, because you start to think, is it me? You know, am I not, you know, bringing it? You know, do I not have a certain level, you know, of quality and talent to give, you know?
No way.
But I would think about that for a little minute. And
Snap out of
I
it.
snap out. I just go in I go and get in the shower, and then I would sing a song in the shower, and I'd be like, I
Yeah.
like the ambiance in that, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah. So I snap out of it, man. But you know, I realize that no matter what field you're in, there are a lot of great people in all different kind of categories and different fields that don't necessarily get the acclaim that other people get. But
Mm,
that doesn't mean that you're not as good or better than they are.
true.
You know, I mean, you have to come to a place in life to say, whatever's for me
It's for
is
you,
for me.
no
What
doubt.
God gives me, He gives me. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people have lost it, gotten off track,
Right.
you know, because they can't deal with, you know, the fact that, you know, they got all of this great gift and great talent, but somebody else is getting so much more recognition than they are. There's a reason for everything. You
Mm,
know, sometimes those people that might get those accolades and might make that kind of crazy money, you
right.
know, you don't know what's going on in their life. And, you know, sometimes they don't even, you know, sometimes their life is not extended. It's not that long. You know what I'm saying? I
No
mean,
doubt. Yeah,
so
I totally get it.
my mother told me that my life was in God's hands. So I got to accept that,
Hmm.
you know, I got to accept that. But at the same time, you got to look at the fact that I'm still in the music business 40 years later,
Hmm.
still making a good living at it. I'm still doing my thing, doing what I want to do. I'm still my own guy, my own boss.
You winning.
Like they say, man, you know, when you get to do what you love, then you never work a day in your life. So,
Man, I
I'm
love it.
good.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love to hear you talk like that, because I know people. I know wherever you go, people they show love.
Yeah.
They show me. They show you love.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, man, from the bottom of my heart, brother, you are a legend. I'm gonna give you flowers, brother, and you deserve everything that you have accumulated, man, in your life. So I wanna switch gears for a second. I've heard, we hear a lot of stories of artists, having, issues with record labels and, financial duress or whatever. What advice would you give an artist? Because a lot of times they tell artists, hire a financial advisor, and then
Yeah.
the financial advisor be the one that's ripping their ass off. So what advice would you give to somebody who's getting into the music industry and want to, be able to keep tabs on what they accumulating, what they bringing in?
Well, I don't think I can say it any better than Bill Cosby said, count your own money.
Mm,
You know, because people are tempted, man. And they they will use your money as their money. Um, I say realize the fact that nothing lasts forever. You know, money. You know, it there's an ebb and flow to it. You know, so learn to save your money and learn to think about the future. Um, that advice sometimes is easier said than done. We
Mhm.
all have made mistakes. You start making more money than you ever made, and you're feeling yourself, and you want to spread your wings, and you know,
Say what
I,
Biggie say, more money, more problems.
yeah, right. So I learned that the hard way, man. But the main thing is to get the opportunity to look at all of your transactions, your contracts, and know what they mean. I mean, if you got to get a lawyer, just because you got a manager,
Right,
don't leave that up to them to be fair with you. Get
right.
you a lawyer. I was looking at the the Sam Cooke story not long ago, and Sam Cooke, of course, has started his record label,
Yes,
and
sir.
he had a guy that was his partner in a label, and this guy stole like a lot of Sam's publishing, from what I understand.
Mm,
It's kind of just got him.
right,
And a lot of artists, man, they're just good-hearted people. They're just happy to even have that success, man. And they're doing what they love, and they, just very trusting kind of people. Sometimes, my man wouldn't do that to me. You can't think like that.
yeah, yeah. I guess that like artists feel like I just want to make the music, man. Let the business take care of
Yeah,
itself, and then that's how you end up getting bit in the ass.
yeah, well, that is the fun part, just doing the creative thing. That's the butter right there, man. But you got to think, you got to look at people in a certain way, and you got to verify.
Right,
Just verify.
no doubt, no doubt. So look, a while back, and you was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I bring that up because I recently had a scare of borderline type 2 diabetes at one time, and
Yeah.
my girlfriend of 2.5 years, she passed away from type 1.
Oh,
So
so yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at you, brother. You look amazing, bro. You look great, man. So tell me about how have you overcame that, and what have you done to change as far as like your diet and eating, because you look good, brother.
Well, thank you, bro. I'm gonna tell you, the pandemic has not been helpful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, all this downtime, and you are tempted to go to that cabinet or that refrigerator.
Get them Cheetos.
Yeah, get them Cheetos. You know what
They're
I
calling your name,
Yeah,
man.
bro. Yeah,
Hey Glenn, hey Glenn.
yeah, yeah,
Holla.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you lay in bed at night thinking about what you're gonna eat for breakfast the next morning. Yeah, I'm gonna get me some grits, and I'm gonna get me some, and I get off track a little bit, man. But it's about in moderation. Like I recently uh, really got back into my program and my diet now.
Mhm.
Because it's a serious thing, man. And I had, I come from a family, with a lot of diabetes. My father had it, and five of my brothers had it, and a sister that had it, and it's a life changer, man. Because I come from a family. I like to eat, man. My mother was a great cook.
From the South, man.
Really, I like to get it in, and then
Yeah.
I started cooking myself in the past few years. So I'm always mindful of it, man. And I try to, you know, I try not to go too far, I take
Right.
advantage of it, and I just pray. I ask God to keep me, man. Just
Hmm.
keep me, I'm the kind of guy. I like my grapes, my wine and all of that, but it made me, step back from that and just have a glass or two every now and then. I don't get it in like that no more.
Moderation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
moderation, So yeah.
That's what's up. So, a while back, I think this maybe 2000, 2008, you linked up with the Canton Spirituals. You got back into gospel.
Yeah, yeah.
So talk about that. What made you want to jump back into gospel, man, and put it down in the gospel field again, man? What said, hey, come on, Mr. Jones, come on back?
Well, I mean, because that's rooted in me, man. That's still, and I have written other gospel music, and I've got a whole catalog of gospel music that I've written that I haven't recorded yet. But
Wow.
truthfully speaking, the Cantons made me get back in it because I was such a fan of theirs, man.
Hmm.
I mean, they changed the game with, what
Contemporary
yeah,
gospel. Yeah.
they changed the game, man. And Harvey Watkins is such a he's an amazing writer, and he's a showman. He's a tactician when he's on the stage.
Right.
And the idea of getting a chance to do a record with him, and then we involved my wife Genoa Jeter in that, and for all three of us to do a record together. And I never, thought that the record, would win a Stella or be, you know,
Nominated. Wasn't it nominated for a Grammy?
yeah. And actually, I produced two songs on that album.
That's dope.
Yeah, yeah, and and right now Harvey and I, we still good friends. Matter of fact, when I did when they did the Unsung on TV1, I had Harvey on the show, to talk about, our relationship and stuff like that. So,
That's
um,
what's
I will always love gospel, man, always.
okay. Okay. So you got a foundation. Talk a little bit about the Love Jones Foundation.
Yeah, I started a foundation. I think we started that about 4 years ago, and during the time my mother was living, I always saw her, try to be, of service to people and helping people, you know, whether she was taking food to them or just, going to sit and keep company with them and just encouraging them or whatever she did. She used to be a seamstress, so she would make different things for people. And I kind of did that as a tribute to her. I kind of did it to say that, she would be happy or proud to see me do something like
Right.
that. Because it's not just about me being a musician or a songwriter
Hmm.
or singer or an artist. It's about, having some type of legacy, you
Right.
know, and that was important. And it's because at one time, my father passed away years ago. When my father passed, I was like 22 years old. So my mother lived on her own by herself for a lot of years.
Hmm.
And so I remember her asking me to record some gospel. So I went in the studio, and recorded about four gospel songs, me just playing guitar and singing. And that was what kept her company. She used to listen to that when she was, had alone time. So
Right.
I figured if I could take some of that music into some of these senior citizen homes and, expose them to something that they don't get, because a lot of those folk, people, they forget about them. We call
Right.
them forgotten seniors. So I started taking my little rhythm section in these homes, man, and I would sing from Nat King Cole to I'd even sing some Billie Holiday or some Frank Sinatra or some Andre Crouch, and it lifted their spirits, man. And we would do gift giveaways, raffles and stuff like that.
Okay.
And every day, when after I would do something like that, I would come home and just sleep good. I felt good about it. So I did that, and then we work in conjunction with, kids. We did some things in conjunction with the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
We went in and did workshops and PowerPoint presentations, try to teach them something about the business, because a lot of them have aspirations to be in music, and actually
Right.
some of them have talent, you know.
Hmm.
So it was something to encourage them and just to give them the history, because a lot of the music that they are drawn to now, they don't realize that music was written and recorded 60 years ago, 50 years ago. They
Yeah.
think, maybe, Notorious B.I.G. or somebody was the first one,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Miles
Yeah.
Davis or somebody that
Yeah.
did the joint, and we did that, we do that. So we've just been kind of waiting for things to open up. We have toy drives that we would do for Christmas and stuff and give away toys, but we've been waiting for this whole COVID thing, man, to
Right.
just, subside so we can get back at it. You know.
Hell yeah, nah, no doubt, brother.
Yeah.
So look, you mentioned, you just mentioned working with the kids and as far as like, music, man. So talk about what's your take on, the current state of rhythm and blues. You mentioned how the kids hear songs that came out 60 years ago and not realizing that these songs, they hear songs that came out recently, but not realizing these songs were recorded 60 years ago and etc. So talk about that, man. How do you feel about the current state of rhythm and blues in 2021?
I think that I think it's evolving, because I hear a lot of stuff that for me, it brings back that feel and that memory of what music used to be like. You know, um, I know we got a lot of these, trap beats and all that kind of stuff. And you know what, man, I truly try to stay open and learn something from everybody.
Hmm.
Whether it's the newer artists, and I like to see when you infuse the old with the new, or the old school, as they say, with
No
the new,
doubt.
because you can listen to what the younger artists are doing, and they're listening to what was back in the day. They are, you know, and it's influencing them. So I think that the problem is that sometimes people uh, they uh, they kind of get into the ageism thing. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because I can do a record, and it might not really pop off, but some youngster can come and do that same record, and it'll be a mega hit.
Right.
That don't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
It's only in black music for some reason. It seemed like only
I,
in black music.
yeah, I
Bruce,
would
Bruce, Bruce Springsteen, he can go platinum at 80 years old or whatever, however old he is.
Yeah, it's always been like that, and it's like all of the artists, all of the soul artists, all of the black artists that made R&B what it is, you know, they can barely go out and do some dates and get a decent performance fee a lot of times. You
Why
know,
do you what do you think attribute to that? Because what I'm noticing as me, I'm in my 40s now, so I got some years on me, and what I've noticed, a lot. Do you? Okay, this is the question I want to ask. Let me get right to it. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. Do you think we as a people preserve our legends, in particular in rhythm and blues and jazz and those genres, those non-hip hop genres? Do you feel that we preserve our legends the way that we should?
no, I don't think we do that, because I think we're always looking for the next new thing. You know, and I think we don't really, it's all about what's happening now, but we don't really think about the talent and the skill that it took for this artist to become the artist that they are, and the
Talk about it.
talent that they have. It's just like, you know, you do a record, and over in Europe, England, or wherever,
Hmm.
they know who wrote it,
Right.
they know who produced it,
Exactly.
they know everything. We don't know that. We don't care about that. It's like,
Why? Why?
do I
Why?
like the beat? Okay, yeah. I don't know why it's like that.
I never understand. It just seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong. Do you see it this way? You mentioned earlier, like how the ageism in music. I don't know if we were talking about specifically rhythm and blues, but what I've noticed, and again, tell me, do you see it this way, or maybe you see it differently? It seemed like we as black people are not allowed to do traditional rhythm and blues, but other nationalities are allowed. So you can have Adele and Sam Smith, and they can do the Glenn Jones. What they can sing and do all these runs, and they
Yeah,
can do all of that. But when we do it, let's put them on the adult contemporary. But if they do it,
yeah.
they sell records.
Millions, millions.
Why are we not allowed to do what we created, but other nationalities? And I'm not trying to make this a race thing. It's just what it is.
It's the
That's,
truth.
I mean,
You
what,
know,
so what's your take? What's your
it's
take on that?
it's just like when I told you, when I was at Atlantic, and I did the album with Here I Go Again and all that stuff, and then I did the
Right.
second project. Here I Am. It's like, when they started talking about, oh, well, this is adult music. You know what I'm saying? But those same people that you just mentioned can do an adult record, and it's accepted. I don't know why.
Not only is it accepted, Glenn, but they will outsell. You can get 5 of the top rhythm and blues artists, and they'll outsell all of them.
Yeah, they will. And
the top 5 rhythm and blues artists right now, Adele sells more than all of them combined.
I have no explanation for it, man. I don't know why it is like that. Because see, the thing is, you know that the white audience, they love R&B, okay? Because even back in the day, in the early Motown days and stuff, that was the thing that had the music industry popping,
Right.
That was why back in the day, sometimes when they did a record on a black artist, they wouldn't even put the picture on the cover. You know what I'm saying? And, when you think about so many artists from that era, man, it's like, I don't know. They were coming with, new concepts. I mean, we were like, we were leading the music industry, but for some reason, we never really seemed to be able to take that base that we established and make it grow and take it along with us. For some reason that never happened.
What do you think that we as a people can do to possibly change that? Because I love hip hop, but
Yeah.
I love rhythm and blues, man. That's what I was raised on. I'm from Washington D.C. I'm not from New York, so a lot of people, if you follow my platform, you see a lot of hip hop artists, but unbeknownst to a lot of people, I'm more of a rhythm and blues guy. Like.
Right.
If I had to choose, that's my heart and soul. That's what I was raised on.
Yeah.
Hip hop came a little bit later. So what do you feel that we can do to shed more knowledge and bring that back, bring that soul back, bring our Black audience back to traditional rhythm and blues?
I think, a lot of the hip hop artists, they have got to start embracing what we call old school artists.
Talk about it.
They got to do that because it's not only beneficial to us, it's beneficial to them because they're going to learn something too now.
They sample the music.
So, it's a part of everything that they do. So we need to embrace one another. You know what I'm saying? And we need to, so that the music can last. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it can just it can last forever. Because that's why I say I never turn away from anything. Because I can learn something from anybody.
Right.
In my whole career, a lot of the projects that I've done, I've grabbed the whole to like new producers and songwriters and stuff and brought them into my thing. Whenever I put a band together, I got youngsters in my band. You know what I'm saying? To get that energy that they have.
No
but
doubt.
At the same time, they get to respect what I do, and they learn things from me too.
I like. Do you? And this. I'm not trying to put out a disclaimer or anything as to to explain what I'm about to say, but do you feel like since hip hop, since the hip hop genre taken off, do you feel like they show the same love that they give to possibly like that base that they give to other genres? Because they give that love to rhythm and blues, even though they sample them to death?
Yeah. I haven't witnessed that myself personally. Like I said, I've done records like Mike Jones did a remake of. He took "We've Only Just Begun" and Flipper did that song "Flossin'," and Ice Cube and some other people have taken "Show Me." I've even been on Instagram and saw a video of Puffy's son in his car bumping "Show Me." I'm talking about my "Show Me."
The original.
Yeah, the original joint. I've seen that, but to really really embrace it, because when you look at the success that somebody like a Ronald Isley had, was due to the fact that somebody reached back, like R. Kelly. When you look
I
at
love that. I
what
love that.
happened with Charlie Wilson,
R. Kelly, yeah, I love that.
R. Kelly and Snoop Dogg and all those cats, they endorsed that, so we need some of that embracing and some of that endorsement.
It's a lot of times when I think about, I don't know, I think, Glenn, I don't know if you look at, see, I see things a lot. I'm very different. I'm very peculiar in how I see things. And I'm about to wrap this video, this interview up, but I do want to say this. I want to get your take on this. What I notice is artists like you set the bar very high as far as the singing quality. Do you feel like we're never going to get those voices back? Because I don't mind, change the music. Let's make trap beats. Fine. But can we sing? Can we get those singers again? Can we sing over? Can we get that back?
Well, you got Jasmine Sullivan.
There we go.
You got Faith Evans. You got Fantasia. You got a lot of great artists who can truly sing. Music is always going to change from a recording standpoint. Just sonically, it's going to change. You know what I'm saying?
No problem with that.
Yeah. So that's cool. Because I want to keep up with that too. Right. But actually, the essence of the music, the melody, the essence of it, what we do is still, it's there, and it's timely but timeless. That's why they can sample all kind of stuff and get a hit with it.
Exactly.
They take what they do, put that beat under it, and the essence of the song is still there. The melody, like a little different or whatever, but it's there. So I think that we definitely got some great talent around. I hear some people, sometimes I'd be like, ooh, that's a singing child there, So, we just need to connect with one another a little more, man.
No doubt. I agree. So look, being that, you've been in the industry, going on plus 40 years, do you still get the same feeling that you got singing that you did when you first started singing, when you first started recording,
Yeah, I do. Because I came from an era where we wasn't taking auto tune and fixing stuff, tuning it up.
Wasn't none of that back then.
None of that, and it had to be perfect. And then I come from an era where if I had to stand behind that mic for 5-6 hours, whatever it was, that's what I was going to do to get the record the way I wanted it. Because I know once it's released, I got to hear that for the rest of my life. I don't want to be, squinching and I should. I want to be sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what inspired, with all that being said, what inspires you, man, to keep going on, to keep moving forward, to still be out there singing? What inspires you today in 2021 for Glenn Jones to get out on that stage whenever the opportunity presents itself and still bring it like it's 1978, like it's 1983 or 80, whatever?
Hey, look, one thing that inspires me are those bills that still come. You better get out there on that stage.
I know that's right, man.
No, man. Hey, look, it's like you gotta have passion for something. You gotta have a reason to get up every day. That if that's what defines you, that's what defines me. This is what I am, what I've always been. So in order for me to still feel like I'm Glenn Jones, I got to keep doing what I do.
So do you think back 40, 50 years, from now, not from now, in the past, did you ever think like, man, I would still be doing, like, I wanted to do this, but I'm still here? Did you ever think like this would be, your dream would be a reality?
Yeah, I thought it would be. You know, no, really,
you say that really confidently, man. Hey, brother.
you know, I thought it, and I knew it was possible because of my past. You know, like growing up in gospel and seeing so many great artists that on in their years they could still do it. They could, you know, this one cat, Joe Lagan from the Mighty Clouds of Joy. It was crazy. It was crazy how high and strong his voice was, and he was 80 years old, man. I'm like, man. You know, so
Rance Allen, man.
Big fan of Rance. You know, I learned a lot of stuff from Rance, man. That's another guy, another brother that never got his props. You know,
got his props.
Didn't get his props. You know, he was well respected. Don't get me wrong, and he made a good living. You know, the people loved him all over the world. But when Rance came, man, it was like it was a hurricane because you had never heard nobody like this dude, man.
He get them albums that he recorded on Stax Records.
Oh man, singing on the high notes and riffing and stuff, man. So, you know, I believe that I was going to have, you know, some longevity, you know, and that's one of the main reasons why, you know, I always tried to keep, you know, a certain level, you know, and keep my thing happening because to me, that's the only way you can have longevity. You know, I didn't want to be no fly by night.
No doubt.
You know.
Did your parents, you know, your mom in particular, how did she ever feel, you know, when you said, man, you know what, I'm about to do R&B. Like, hey, mama, I love you, but mama, this was about to pay the bills. What was her? How did she feel about that growing up a Pentecostal 7-day Adventist?
Well, she heard a couple of things that I recorded, and she never was disappointed or never talked against me. She said my son sings love songs.
No doubt.
And if you listen to my records, you know, you listen to my catalog, that's what it is.
No doubt.
You know, it's love songs.
I can play your music with my children, and
that's what
I don't have to turn it off. Like it's adult music, but I can still play it around my kids.
Right, and then I can go to church on Sunday morning and stand up and get the mic and sing, and ain't nobody tripping. And that's the thing. It's like early on, you know, church people needed to be, they needed to grow up. They needed to be educated.
Right.
Because they weren't, you know, because they criticized everything you did. And as the years passed, I can't tell you how many churches have hired me to come and perform. And I'm talking about, you know, when they would say, look, we don't want no near the cross. We want some Glenn Jones up in
Yeah.
Pastor told me, he said, look, he said, you know, I was out in the world. He said, but when I came into the church, he said, I didn't want to believe that was the last time I was going to get a chance to dance with my wife. Okay. Because when we had the house, we ain't putting on under the crowds now. We want to put on some bandos. I've done, you know, like concerts and parties at churches, man. You know, it's been great. You know, so I finally got to the point in my life where, you know, I didn't have to distance myself because I felt like the church would look at me in a certain light. You know what I'm saying? That was good to me because my first few years in R&B, you know, I felt a certain way, you know, because, you know, I used to have people come to me and say, you know, you singing that, they used to call it rock and roll sometimes. And they say, you know, you ain't scared, you know, you be on them planes, you ain't scared the plane gonna crash, you know what happened to Otis Redding and you going to hell and all that kind of old crazy stuff, man.
Damn.
Yeah, I dealt with that.
But now, you know, like I said, doing the type of music that you do, I always felt like, you have a clean conscience. You got a purpose. You have a purpose. And like you mentioned earlier, man, you can go up in church with a clean conscience, man, because you ain't singing about Glenn Jones ain't singing about taking nobody girl.
Yeah.
He ain't singing about getting high and getting drunk and all this, you know, this stuff, that, you know, a lot of the themes that's popular in rhythm and blues, man. So I always applauded you for that.
Yeah, that was purposely.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, look, Glenn, Mr. Jones,
Yeah.
it's been an honor having you here on the Bridging and Generation podcast, brother. Before we go, man, like what you want your legacy to be, man? I want to know, what does Glenn Jones want his legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be that I was grateful for the opportunity that I was given, the talent that I was given. I love music. I love people. And whenever I can do something that will encourage somebody or help them, that's what I want to do. That's me. That's who I am. And I'm a regular cat, man, everyday cat. I'm a dude from the South.
Duval.
Duval, right.
Duval. Hey, do they still got Regency Mall out there?
Come on, man. I think Regency gone, man. Regency
was
on his last leg, like, a good while ago. Everybody go to Orange Park now, man.
See, I ain't been down Jacksonville since, like, when I was in the military back in 2003. I used to hit a Regency Mall.
Yeah.
That was stationed.
You ever go to Jim's place?
Of course, yeah. I used to go to Jim's place, Neptune Beach, and all that.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I miss it, man. My kid's mother, she lives in Jacksonville as we speak.
Okay.
As we speak, so I got a little connection with Jacksonville. So look, it's been an honor having you on here, Glenn Jones, the legend. It's been a pleasure. I'm Malak Arif. Again, Glenn Jones. We signing out, man. Y'all take care. Have a good night, Mr. Jones.
All right.
All right, brother.
Thank you, man.